Hello, I'm Bartling, and I certainly hope that you and yours are having yourself a sunnier, warmer day. Well, the older I am, the more that I think. And I think I kind of got in a rut a little bit where I was telling you or making suggestions to you to think about maybe doing certain things or making them part of your habit. Well, I'd like to change that with this presentation today. The older I am, the more that I think. And I think there's something here I should tell you not to do. Do not. I repeat, do not do this. In fact, it was recommended to us by a famous author. Maybe you heard of him. Dale Carnegie. And if you haven't taken one of his courses, I would highly recommend that you do that. In the first chapter of his book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Not change people, but influence people. Believe me, I cannot change people. I cannot change my wife, my son. Oh, I know I can't change people. In his first chapter, he says this. Principle number 1, do not criticize, condemn, or complain. 3 C's. I want to kind of focus just on that last one. Complaining. Now, I understand there's room for legitimate complaining, but kind of defining what the word legitimate is can be something else too. But if you let this deadly disease of that attitude of complaining, if you let that loose, it's going to conquer you. It can destroy you and leave you without anything.
Watch a sports reporter fluster as he becomes the weather reporter for the day and wishes to go back to his regular job.
I normally do sports. Everything is canceled here for the next couple of days. So what better time to ask the sports guy to come in about 5 hours earlier than he would normally wake up, go stand out in the wind and the snow and the cold and tell other people not to do the same. I didn't even realize that there was a 3:30 also in the morning until today. How do I get that Storm Chaser 7 duty? I feel like Clint got the better end of that deal. You know, that thing's heated. The outdoors currently is not heated. I've got good news and I've got bad news. The good news is that I can still feel my face right now. The bad news is I kind of wish I couldn't.
Now, nobody wants to take along a complainer. Nobody wants to promote a complainer. Nobody wants to be a partner of a complainer, and nobody wants to have one around. And indeed, nobody wants to live with a complainer. Complaining leaves you out of more opportunities than you can possibly imagine. Now, if you don't think complaining is bad, just ask the children of Israel. The story says, children of Israel, they were slaves of Egypt. Now, God performed a series of dazzling miracles and gets them out. Now they have their freedom and they're heading to the promised land. But the tragedy of that story is they never get there. From day one, they started to complain. They griped about the food. Now they had just been delivered from slavery and they are complaining about the food. God delivers them quail and manna. Then they started to whine and cry about the water. Now they're in the desert. They had water to drink, but it didn't taste that good. They whined and complained about the leadership. Leadership just delivered them from slavery. They complained. It was too hot. It was too cold. It was too far, too difficult, too rocky. They whined and cried for years, 40 years in fact. Finally said, hey, I've had it, trip canceled. Now, the story says that they died in the desert and never reached the promised land. I believe the story teaches us at least two things. Indulge in complaining long enough and you will get your future canceled. Future promotions canceled. Future opportunities canceled. Trip canceled. Number two, even God himself can only take so much complaining. So think about it. Again, it's so important that in the very first chapter, Mr. Carnegie tells us, don't do it. Don't complain. So the next time that you're having your wine, and it happens to us, believe me, I'm part of that choir. I sometimes get whining and whining and whining. Ask yourself, do I want some crackers and cheese with my wine? As I said, I can't change you. I have a hard time trying to change myself, but I can maybe have a little bit of a suggestion influence to you. Try this as a habit of not complaining. Take your watch off, if you have a watch, and put it on the other wrist. And as you look at your watch during that day, then have it come to be a type of a little tag, if you will, a little signal to ask yourself, how am I doing? How much complaining have I done already today? And what can I not complain about in the next 5 minutes? Now, if you don't have a watch, maybe you have a ring. Take your ring off and put it on your other finger. Again, use it as a little signal that you only know about. That's going to give you then that signal, hey, check your complaining. As Zig Ziglar, another motivational, would say, do a checkup from the neck up. Now, why do you think Mr. Carnegie would put don't complain as their first principle? I believe that wise man knew this. We're in this together. Yes, we are. We're in this together. And I'm rooting for you. Yes, I am. So let's all do not complain and look for ways to do less and less of it. And remember this, blessed are they who ease the pain of misfortune, for they shall be called insurance agents. You take care.